Scientist Flanders says, "What's a creationist's favorite animal?" "The stork, because they think that's where babies come from." So funny. Not really. And now, Irene on his gay parade, his truth-phobic parade, his racist macro-evolutionist parade, because I mock the mocker with the truth that you cannot defeat. So your joke is your existence, sock-flip account, not your strawman fallacy. Now I say sock-flip account, why? Go to his channel, and also he's been in a thread with other sock puppets, so chances are. Let's wait for this to load. So-called scientist Flanders from The Simpsons. Oh look, the sock puppet has no content. Oh, PhD, a very trolly name. Except he's not just like a troll. He's truly. He gets upset. You can see he gets upset when I correct him. So this person who says uneducated Christine. So he hates people who claim to follow Jesus. Well, I hate most people who claim to follow Jesus, but they're heretics. They're not real Christians. Now this is the kind of people who will murder Christians if the government falls and there's chaos or whatever. It's how communism spread atheism, by people like this guy. So that's a strawman fallacy. This is a lie. He's lying about creationists, or at least people like me. I never thought that babies come from storks, as far as I recall. What's a macro-evolutionist's favorite German? Hitler, because Darwinists say subhumans look like black Africans a lot. Nazis were macro-evolutionists, so are communists who spread atheism by mass murder. Atheism can't spread by reason. It spreads by propaganda and mass murder. And the French Revolution is another example. Hitler was creationist and ordered his minions to burn Darwin's masterpiece. Masterpiece? Well, first of all, Darwin didn't invent that shit. His grandfather was known to have preached that shit before Darwin. Darwin was just the poster boy, so he doesn't even know the real origin of macro-evolution mythology. And Hitler being a creationist, well, so what? You can be a creationist and a macro-evolutionist. However, you cannot be a real Christian and a macro-evolutionist, unless you're backsliding, but you cannot persist in lies and serving Satan if you claim to follow Jesus and truly follow Jesus. You cannot do that. God cannot be mocked. So this shows more of his ignorance, and burning macro-evolution shit. Maybe this is highly suspect. I don't believe this shit. He of course doesn't offer any proof. Anyway, I said Hitler was a macro-evolutionist, which I've proven before on my channel probably, and the British Empire was not the biggest, which has over 10 parts. Hitler admired the British for their skill at propaganda, lying, but he loved the Spanish for bravery. Nazis were macro-evolutionists is a fact clear from the very fact they were eugenicists, which I spelled wrong because I rushed. It should be, I think, trying to make their race into a super race, which Darwin's fiction is all about. You know, they focus on species, but you know, a step to a new species is racial differences until a race branches out into the new species. It's about a race becoming superior to the other ones. So it is racist inherently, Darwin's shit. But I proved it wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong because it's racist, per se, other than it's immoral because it's racist. Yes, in that sense it's wrong. But I'm not saying it's scientifically wrong because it's racist. I've proven it wrong elsewhere. But this video is about the link to Hitler that Darwin has. So Brits were and many still are racist, so your racist myth of subhuman blacks having existed is a mere vestige of imperial British racist desires to justify their oppression and genocides against dark races. Tasmanians were all exterminated in the name of Darwin. Brits were worse than Nazis, and many still are. So then he made a comment that didn't show up. Let me show that comment, which is over here. So where was I? So he said, "You've proven nothing. World War II history doesn't lie. Do some honest research, hypocrite." He did not prove I'm a hypocrite. He did not prove that he has the truth. And he did not refute me. He did not go to the series I said I have. He did not even deal with my arguments there. He's just he's shitting out the argument from incredulity fallacy. Because he wishes Darwin was Mr. Good Guy. No, Darwin's a villain. He's a villain in history, and I did a video proving he worships Satan. So he's not just racist, he's a damn devil worshipper. Well, in hell he'd stopped worshipping Satan because there's no point, is there? So, back to the thread. Now, as you can see, lies outnumber the truth all the time. But the truth resurrects, and liars will have their end. This is the trial version of life. It will always be a world of injustice where liars parade their lies. There is hell to pay for lying. They won't get away with nothing. So then I said, after he said that, then I said, fine, I'll spoon feed you, willfully ignorant atheist, racist for believing subhuman blacks were a thing, you racist. So this is where I proved it. The British Empire was not the biggest, part 8, which I have here in the background. I'm going to get to that. In that video I did, I quote the shit-stained Darwin as saying what I'm about to show. Do you know the word for struggle in German? It's Kampf, as in Mein Kampf. Because here you see the struggle for existence, said Darwin. The struggle, the Kampf for existence. So what was Hitler's Kampf about? It was about racial struggle. And what is Darwin talking about here? In a letter to William Graham from 1881, he's talking about races struggling. So Darwin talked about races struggling, Hitler talked about races struggling, they were talking about the same shit. And they were both racist. They were both Germanics. So many similarities between Darwin and Hitler. They were both Templars, Masons, who worshipped Satan and pretended to be patriots or scientists. Nonsense. They were just agents of Satan to mislead people. They were just tools of the synagogue of Satan. The Jews, the elite Jews who persecuted their own people to hide their tracks. Hitler is the founding father of Antichrist Israel, the nation of today. Without Hitler, the transfer agreement wouldn't have happened, where the Nazis made a deal with the Zionists to bring more so-called Jews to the Holy Land, where they could overpower the people who were there before them, before the Ashkenazi fake Jews. So anyway.
Lastly, I could show fight on natural selection having done and doing more for the progress of civilization than you seem inclined to admit. Remember what risk the nations of Europe ran not so many centuries ago of being overwhelmed by the Turks, and how ridiculous such an idea now is. The more civilized so-called Caucasian races have beaten the Turkish hollow in the struggle for existence. Looking to the world at no very distant date, what an endless number of the lower races will have been eliminated by the higher civilized races throughout the world. What an endless number of the lower races will have been eliminated was Darwin's wet dream. Hitler agreed with Darwin. I must recognize the racial inferiority of the so-called oppressed nations, he said in Mein Kampf. Hitler was a macro-evolutionist like atheists are, generally. Followers of the British racist Charles Darwin. In Mein Kampf, Adolf Hitler said, if nature does not wish that weaker individuals should mate with the stronger, she wishes even less that a superior race should intermingle with an inferior one, because in such a case all her efforts throughout hundreds of thousands of years to establish an evolutionary higher stage of being may thus be rendered futile. The support which I receive from Germany is my chief.
Did you catch that? Did you catch that? Evolutionary higher stage of being.
The support which I receive from Germany is my chief ground for hoping that our views will ultimately prevail. Brits were worse than Nazis. Nazis tried to genocide the Ashkenazim. Failed. Brits tried to genocide Tasmanians. Succeeded. Brits made Nazis look like amateurs. By genocide, I mean here kill off a race entirely.
Alrighty then. So there you go. Mr. Flanders here. You're really bad at mocking Christians because you just do strawman fallacies because you're very irrational, you're not smart. You have no content because you're just a stock public account or some guy who has no contributions anywhere. Yeah, you. So you got schooled. I just gave you a history lesson. Elsewhere I gave you a science lesson for free. You're welcome. You're welcome, you racist atheists. You hellbound pieces of stuff. Good riddance.